Hello guys, and welcome back to Raw Dog UK. Thanks for joining us again. I'm John, this is my wife Emma.
Hi guys.
Today we're going to be covering the basics of raw feeding and the benefits that come along with that. So yeah, fire away Emma.
For the purposes of this video, we are just talking about adult dogs. We will do a further video that incorporates puppies and junior dogs. So you need to be feeding 2 to 3% of your adult dog's body weight. So if you've got a 20 kilo dog, the very minimum you should be feeding them is 400 grams of raw food a day. Now this doesn't look a lot, just to tell you. It looks like you're feeding your dog near to nothing, but because we are so used to feeding commercialised dog food diets, which you have to feed a lot more quantity, we think that when we're raw feeding, we're not feeding our dogs enough, but I promise you we are.
Quality over quantity.
Exactly.
There you go.
So for the very, very basics, you need to be feeding an 80-10-10 diet. So that's 80% meat with 10% bone and 10% offal, 5% of that offal being liver and 5% any other offal. So that's kidney, lungs, pancreas, heart, testicles. And if you do want to feed your dogs vegetables, has to be no more than 25% veg, and make sure you pre-cook your veg. As we spoke about in a previous video, dogs can't do the first part of digestion. So if you was to look at the prey animal that a dog was to eat, the only vegetable that they would eat from that is a partially digested veg that would be in the prey's stomach. So you can do raw feeding either DIY or by pre-made minces. Pre-made minces is obviously a lot easier, however not all dogs get on with an 80-10-10 split. Some dogs may find it too much calcium, some not enough, some might need a bit more offal, some maybe need a bit less offal, but you don't need to overcomplicate things. If you start an 80-10-10, you can then go here or there if there's anything that you're worried about. If their poos are too white and chalky, then maybe add a bit more offal or add a bit more boneless mince to their meals. But we are just talking about the basics. So again, saying about their body weight percentage and what you should be feeding, every dog is different, their metabolisms are different, just like us. So one 20 kilo dog might be absolutely fine on 400 grams a day. A different 20 kilo dog might need more or less, so they might put weight on or lose weight, and you only need to change it by around 10%. So if you're feeding 400 grams, 10% below would be 40 gram less, 10% above would be 40 gram more. So there isn't, it's so easy with raw feeding to be able to keep an eye on your dog's weight, to be able to keep an eye on what your dog's had to eat. We only have to go outside and know what our dog's had this morning by the colour of their poos. And poo is one benefit of raw feeding.
Like I said, I will cover for you guys who want to know, really want to delve into it. I will do a video at some point about how the poos should look as well. Tripe, can we just talk about tripe for a minute as well? Now tripe, to me, well, it's widely known, pound for pound, is one of the most nutritious things you can feed your dogs. And I know what some of you guys are going to say, yeah, but it stinks, and but trust me guys, once it's gone out the bowl, that's it. You don't have to smell it again. You might have a couple of tripey farts,
but other than that, nothing. And tripe has the perfect ratio of calcium to phosphates, which is what you find in bone. And there is no bone in tripe. So we do recommend trying to feed tripe or a tripe mix at least once a week. Raw eggs should be incorporated into your dog's diet at least twice a week, and fish at least twice a week. So when we say fish, you can either use a pre-made raw dog food mince that is a fish mince, or you can feed tinned mackerel, sardines, not tuna or salmon though guys.
And not in oils.
No oils. You need to find it in spring water really. But if
brine,
you are desperate, then you can use brine. Just make sure that you do drain everything off. So let's talk about the benefits of raw feeding. So the very, very first benefit that most people notice is that, although they don't know it's a benefit to start with, is that the dogs drink a lot less. So commercial diets are full of fillers and carbohydrates. When you talk about kibble, it's cooked at a really, really high temperature, which I think is around 320 degrees Celsius. That puts your dog into a permanent state of dehydration, so they drink a lot. So any moisture that they've got in their digestive system goes into digesting their kibble. For all you people who have fed kibble, if you do soak it, you'll notice that it expands about 3 times its size. which isn't right for a dog.
Takes all the
Really.
moisture out your dog.
Yeah, so they drink a lot,
Yeah.
and then when they drink a lot, their kidneys, liver, bladder all work overtime,
yeah.
which then in turn gives issues later on in life. So they drink a lot less because they don't need as much moisture. They poo a lot less because there isn't as much waste material as what there is in commercial food.
It's
And the
amazing.
poos are a lot smaller,
Yeah.
less smelly, a lot drier. And we do always say to our raw feeders, if you can't go outside and kick your dog's poo, you're not doing it right.
Nope.
We can go out and kick our dog's poo and not get dog poo on our shoes, thankfully. The next benefit would be less inflammation.
Yeah,
So that we
definitely.
spoke about on the previous video, feeding dogs on a high carbohydrate diet does cause their digestive tract to become inflamed, and from that you get diarrhea, sickness, skin infections, ear infections, everything really. If their digestive system isn't working properly, they're not intaking the nutrients that they need to be able to do cell renewal. I won't go too much into the scientific side of things because you don't need to know.
Basic terms, your dog works overtime. Carbohydrates, your dog's stomach's constantly working, so that's where the inflammation comes from, because they can't break it down, basically.
So to talk about carbohydrates as well, when carbohydrates are being digested, it turns into sugar. So when, for example, we brush our teeth, and I've not heard of dogs having their teeth brushed before commercialised
Yeah.
dog food came out.
Yeah.
So yes, if you are feeding your dog on a commercial diet, please do make sure that you look after their teeth, because any carbohydrates that do get stuck in there will turn into sugar and cause tooth decay.
It's on the rise as well, isn't it?
Massively. So to talk about the next benefit, it would be raw-fed dogs have cleaner teeth and nicer smelling breath most of the time. If your dog does have, for example, gingivitis already, then it's not going to cure your dog's issues. But if you change over, it's not going to make it any worse.
Yeah.
So feeding recreational bones to either raw-fed or kibble-fed dogs even, is really beneficial to them. So they chew on the bone and the bone takes off all the tartar off their teeth. Please don't be fooled into using dental chews unless you get one from a natural or raw feeding shop.
Grain free.
Because you do find that they are full of sugars. One of the biggest brands that begins with a P is one of the worst ones. We won't mention them,
You know who you
but
are.
I'm sure you can guess who they are.
Yes.
Please don't use them. Yes, they are cheap, but they are cheap for a reason. Recreational bones are also quite cheap and they are very healthy. Yes, it's a raw bone. Yes, it's going to smell if you leave it out for more than 3 or 4 days. Just refreeze it.
Also, just a quick one. Roast bones. Now, very popular. People just pick them up for the dogs, think, oh, it's a bone. I'll feed it my dog, he'll enjoy it. The reality is, once you've cooked a bone, they then turn into like a trans fatty acid, don't they? And then
Yeah, the fat's within the bone, but
Yeah.
it changes the composition of the bone.
yeah.
So they do tend to splinter. Raw bones do not splinter.
Yeah.
You can feed your dog a full chicken, as long as it's raw, the bone will not splinter. The only ever issues I've ever come across with a raw fed dog and bone is if they've taken a little bit too much or there is too much of a sharp edge, then it has caused a little bit of an issue. I've probably heard of 1 in 1,000 dogs wherever that's
Yeah.
happened to. It doesn't happen very often. Whereas feeding roast bones or cooked bones, because I know lots of people will cook a lamb shank and then give the bone that's left over to the dogs. Please do not do this. It's really not good for your dogs whatsoever.
And it's toxic over time to your dog as well.
Massively. So the trans fatty acids that John was talking about, they are toxic to dogs, which is why we do not cook our dogs' meats, which is why they have it raw. But again, we'll go into that in another video. So your next benefit of raw feeding would be the fact that your dogs have clearer eyes and ears. I don't know if
Definitely.
any of you saw my post I put on our Facebook page about Blossom. Blossom used to suffer really, really bad with ear infections, which are caused by yeast, and yeast growth is, or yeast can grow because of sugar. Sugar causes yeast growths, which comes from carbohydrates.
They
So
feed
when
off
you
it, don't
eliminate that from your dog's diet, the yeast can no longer grow. So I've never used any topical treatments on Blossom's ears from when we first started raw feeding, and we are now 100% clear of any ear
Gone.
infections,
You need
dirt,
them.
anything. And her eyes are a lot brighter. All our dogs' eyes are a lot brighter from being raw fed, and again, that's just because there's less inflammation within their bodies. And Another benefit would be the fact that their skin and coat is a lot healthier and shinier, and their skin's a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
And you find that if your dog's got like dandruff or flaky skin, raw feeding usually eliminates the majority of that. There is a few cases where dogs have still had dry skin issues, but that can be solved with adding oils, fish and other things.
And that's basically, isn't it? It's the oils and the fats, the good fats in your dog's meat that brings out that healthy, you know, glow and sheen in your dog's coat. Keeps everything supple, joints as well.
Yeah, so again, when your dogs are eating bone and meat, bone contains glucosamine and chondroitin, especially if it's a joint bone, and that will lubricate your dog's joints. So to take it literally, you are what you eat. When you feed your dogs on bone, protein, that's how they need, that's what they need for cell renewal, and that's why raw-fed dogs seem so much healthier than kibble-fed dogs. Saying that, you can have a kibble-fed dog and think that your dog's quite healthy. You do not know what is going on the inside, and it is usually later on in life where these issues arise. I mean, allergies never used to be a thing for dogs. Dogs never had allergies before commercialised dog food diets. Commercialised dog food became popular just after World War II.
Yes.
Because they needed the cans that dog food was in for ammunition, so they had to bring out this dry dog food. Since then, dogs have gained lots of issues, but the one that stands out the most is allergies. Dogs never used to suffer with allergies, they do now. And to go on to allergies, let's talk about chicken just really quickly. Lots of dogs have what appears to be a chicken allergy. Chicken can be a heating protein, so it can cause hot spots on your dog, which is why they lick their paws or get a bit of staining. That staining can also be caused by carbohydrates, so if you are feeding a kibble diet and your dog has tear stains or saliva stains, that is again either due to yeast or chicken. And another benefit that I really want to speak about with raw feeding is anal glands. So we know that dogs have issues with emptying their own anal glands. This is because when they are commercially fed or they don't have the correct balanced nutrition diet, that their poos are a lot softer, and when they are soft they don't have to push to get the poo out, it just falls out if you like. So their anal glands, which are situated just next to their
side
bum,
either side of the hole.
Anus,
Yes.
They can't empty them if they don't have dry poos. Lots of people will suggest feeding a higher fibre diet. Most fibre is a carbohydrate, so please don't do it. That's what bone is for. Another good thing that you can use to help your dog empty their anal glands is fur. So lots of DIY raw feeders will feed full prey, so a full rabbit for example, so the dogs consume all their fur. This then binds the poo together a bit more, and it also acts as a natural wormer because it takes off the inside of the intestinal lining where the worm's eggs would stay. But yeah, if you want something that's going to help your dog empty their anal glands, please be mindful about fibre. So please don't go adding Weetabix or...
I think what we'll do as well later on in the video, what we've got left, we'll put in us feeding a couple of our dogs.
So we've spoke about the basics. There is a lot you can add to your raw dog's diet. It depends how much or how little you want to do. That is literally just the basic needs. We feed quite a few different things, so probiotics, turmeric paste. I mean, the food that we feed, which is ours, which is Blossom's Bowl, does contain
those ingredients in.
Yeah, it has those ingredients, and it contains vegetables, and we'll go into why we feed the veg that we feed. Again, it's not necessary to feed vegetables. We just have found that that's suited our dogs best. And I think that's everything for this video, guys.
Yeah, guys. So
again, comment if there's anything you want us to cover, and please subscribe. Please
help us out massively. So that's about it, guys. We'll be bringing more videos out, like I said, and remember, guys,
it's what's on the inside that counts.
Take care.
See you later. Bye.
Hi guys, so this is the video as promised of us doing our general meal plan for our dog. So we're feeding Blossom's Bowl lamb
tonight. As you can see, I'm just scooping it out into the bowls there. I don't currently weigh my dog food out anymore because I do know off eye how much they're eating. The bit that I've put in the Tupperware box is still a bit frozen, so I am just using the defrosted parts. If your dog can handle frozen meat though, you can use the frozen bits. So I'm just taking a bit out of Blossom's bowl, which is the smaller bowl on the right. She doesn't need quite as much food as Olive does. So now we're using the crust eggshell. They do get this about 2 to 3 times a week. I do only put a pinch in because there is a 10% bone ratio in the raw food that we're using anyway. And then we're using a probiotic which we stock at the shop. It's full of really good vitamins and minerals. Olive gets a little bit more than what Blossom does, again just because she needs more than Blossom does. And then I'm using Dog Gone Fishing fish sprinkles just because my dogs really enjoy fish, and they are fish scales. So there is a small amount of omega-3 and 6 in there. And then we just mix it all together. Just because my dogs can be picky if there's stuff on top of their tea. You can see Blossom there bouncing about, and there's Olive. So as you can see, we was talking about how they eat before. Although this is sped up, guys, she doesn't eat quite that fast. But she does just take a bite of it and swallow it. There is no chewing action going on whatsoever. Blossom's a much slower eater than Olive is. Well, that's everything, guys.